everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another Women of Horror Spotlight. Listen, I have a returning guest with us, and she's actually the producer of a new movie that is called Night of the Dead Sorority Babes. I have with us Anne Myrna. Anne, welcome back to the Horror Realm.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's always a pleasure having you back on. So tell us a little bit about Night of the Dead Sorority Babes.
So a sorority was founded way back in the early 1900s by two entities, let's just call us entities, that are played by Lynn Lowry and myself. And we recruit kind of secretly girls to join the sorority, and not many of them make it into the sorority and not many make it out of the sorority house. So it's a horror feature film. We've got a huge cast of indie horror celebrities, actresses. We made a great ensemble, and we had a lot of fun making the film.
So I had Sarah Dolan on recently.
Yes.
Amazing guest. So what was it like to have such a powerful group of women indie stars in one project?
One might think it could be disastrous, but it was not at all. You get a bunch of women with big egos together, a lot of bad things could have happened, but they did not. I mean, everybody just really pulled together. The way the script was written, each character kind of had like a partner character. So there was a lot of synergy with those partnerships and then with the group overall. So I mean, everybody, prepared ahead of time. They brought their A game to the set. And we, like I said, we got along great and we had a lot of fun making the movie.
Now, I understand this film is going to have kind of like an 80s horror theme to it.
It's not specifically set in the 80s. I mean, the whole sorority thing in a film is kind of an 80s thing, but we decided not to specifically set it into that time period just because of things like hairstyles. A lot of the girls have tattoos, so we didn't want to have to work around a particular time frame. So it's actually set in the current day.
Now, being the producer on it, a lot of people don't know how important producers are on a film. I feel like producers don't get enough credit. What were some of your struggles and what were some of your positive notes of working on this film?
Well, we're a very small team with AcroStar Productions, so I kind of do a lot of things. With larger crews, you would have multiple producers. There would be a line producer, various types of producers. I kind of do whatever I can to help Steve Herman bring the film to life. So I do things like scout locations. I take care of paperwork with all the talent, insurance, scheduling. So I actually did the shooting schedule, and then on set, Sarah Dolan was the first AD, so the first assistant director. So she kind of kept the schedule moving since I was in the film. Then Steve wanted to, give me some sort of relief to be able to concentrate more on the acting than on the scheduling and getting all the scenes ready and stuff. So, all of us still help out wherever we can. People were helping out with getting the room dressed for the different scenes and stuff like that. I mean, even if that wasn't a specific crew position, but the producer overall also is responsible for getting some money to make the movie. So I put together the crowdfunding campaigns, and we do still have a Finishing Funds crowdfunding campaign going. So if you go on Indiegogo and search for Night of the Dead Sorority Babes, you can find that. And then I also do things after the production, like physical media. I just got this today, the very first DVD of Night of the Dead Sorority Babes. So we do have DVDs and Blu-rays available through that Indiegogo campaign, kind of for, again, the contributors, the early adapters. We also have a film download available there, but the film will ultimately be released by Bayview Entertainment. So also as the VP at AcroStar Productions, I helped set together the contract for distribution through Bayview. So Bayview will release the film formally to the public early 2025.
Nice. Now, was it hard, because you're acting in this as well as producer, was it hard to work on both side of cameras, or did it actually help you be in acting as well?
Um, I don't know that it necessarily helps to be acting in it, but I don't have a problem switching back and forth. Because, again, I kind of did my homework ahead of time in terms of getting my character ready. Plus, we had filmed a proof of concept short film version of this idea earlier in the year. So some of the scenes, even though they were a little different in the feature film version, I had acted those scenes already once. I mean, it did make my life a lot easier in terms of not having to do the first AD task as well. So when I wasn't on camera, I could actually relax rather than working with whoever was in the next scenes, again, making sure everything was ready. But I mean, if I had time and if my mind was free, I was like, well, does anybody need help with anything? Because I'm always willing to offer extra help.
Because I mean, I've been in a couple smaller films and smaller roles, but like, I mean, just learning your script, make sure you have that down. I mean, that's tough. I mean, I have like a new respect for actors and actresses because I mean, it is hard to get those scripts down.
Yes, so it really goes beyond just like knowing the lines. You have to develop your character and know, like, you don't necessarily shoot the scenes in the order that they appear in the final film. So you need to know, like, emotionally where your character is at for every scene. For the purpose of doing it out of order. Sometimes it's scheduling issues, sometimes it's location issues. It can be a variety of things that affect the order in which the film is shot. So for me, getting that character down, again, knowing kind of what has already happened, you got to know the whole story, basically. And then just staying really focused. If I get distracted by something on set, then we'll start forgetting my lines or jumping in early with one of my lines and not waiting for my cue from the other actors. So for me, it's just a matter of focus. Then you also have to learn your blocking right then and there. So we don't rehearse the entire film in terms of movement until we get on set, and really we go scene by scene. There's some overall planning that's done, but in terms of working with the individual actors, we'll do a table read over Zoom because a lot of the times the people are not in the same geographic location. But who stands where, where do you need to be facing, where's the camera, all that kind of stuff, that all gets figured out right before we start filming a particular scene. So you really have to, like bring your mind to that and then integrate that in with what you've developed with the lines and your character.
Now you use Indiegogo, those crowdfunding out for this, which Horror Room actually contribute to because listen, it looks like an amazing film. Now there's so many projects out right now, and if you're a contributor, it's hard to decide which crowdfunding to support. What were some things that you did with your crowdfunding to help you stand out a little?
Well, we always try to accurately portray what the essence of the movie is, which is difficult before you've filmed any of it. Yeah. I mean, so we do tend to do more than one campaign. We'll do one campaign before we film, and then we'll do another campaign after we film. And then we try to take some of what we've filmed and throw it out in bits and pieces to folks so that they can see the overall style, the look, the feel. Yeah, but I would say just from a contributor's perspective, because I also contribute to campaigns, look at people that you trust to actually finish the project. There are a lot of films, unfortunately, that get started but never reach the completion point. There are a lot of steps in between. I have an idea for a movie, and here's the movie. Let's watch it. So we hope that having completed a lot of films already, that we've established some credibility. Again, people always know if Steve Herman wrote the script, there's going to be a story there. It's not just a series of murders or attacks or whatever. There's actually a story that's going on, and like you need to think your way through the film. There are relationships between the characters, things like that. So I think that's some of the things that make us different. I've been told that Acristar does a lot with a little, and we do. But we would like to have the opportunity to do more with a lot. So,
Yes.
I mean, we're hoping that we can kind of edge our way up budget-wise a bit, because we are putting in some personal funds for each and every film that we create. We are not covering all of our expenses with the crowdfunding campaign, and Steve and I are not taking any money out of it. So we would like to grow financially to be able to create more and more entertainment for people.
Now, what is it like to work with a filmmaker like Steve, where you guys have this connection, you have this trust for each other, and what is that like?
I think it's really important because I have been asked to produce for other people, but a big part of that is getting to know their style of working. In a perfect world, a script would already be 100% written, people would be cast, locations would have been found, and then somebody comes in to do, say, the film schedule, and everything's all laid out already. A lot of times in the indie world, we don't formalize everything, and formalizing things can be good and formalizing things can be bad. So Steve is very good in the moment, but he also has all the ideas in his head already. He kind of has edited the film in his mind before we film anything. So a big part of our communication is for me to get stuff out of his head and into my head, so that what I'm planning for is what he actually wants. And so I do ask him a million questions. He's very patient with me. He could try to write it all down ahead of time, but the dialogue back and forth, we can say, he can say, I want to do X, and then I'll say, well, what if Y? And then he'll say, well, okay, maybe Z is a good way to go as a compromise type of thing. So, we are limited budget-wise. We're limited in terms of the locations that we can use in one film, because if we have different locations for too many scenes, we waste a lot of time traveling from point A to point B to point C. So we do try to minimize any downtime, and that's an example of like when we can have downtime because we just need to travel. And then, God forbid, we forget a prop or a costume or some little piece of the camera that had been tweaked with and was set off to the side. There's a million things that can go wrong. Fortunately, most of the time those things don't go wrong. But again, a lot of it just comes down to actually communicating and not being afraid to ask each other questions.
Because I hear from so many indie filmmakers that pre-production planning is so important, and it makes the actual production side go a little smoother.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we filmed Night of the Dead Sorority Babes in 7 filming days. That's a lot of filming, and especially with all the kills, the special effects. We had different lighting for a lot of the different scenes. It's got kind of a creep show vibe to it with a lot of strong use of colored lights. We had to plan all that stuff out, and we did have multiple Zoom meetings with talking about SFX, talking about lighting, talking about the cinematography. If you don't do all that planning and purely try to wing it, there's no way you can make a feature in 7 days.
Yeah, at that point, you were definitely wasting money and time.
Well, yeah, because you've got everybody sitting around, so actors get paid by the day, crew gets paid by the day. If you only actually run a camera half of a day, you've just lost a lot of money. And the more days you film, some people just take a more leisurely pace to it. Maybe they get tired by 3:00 in the afternoon and need to stop for the day. I mean, we don't tend to go till, like some people shoot all night long, literally all night long. We tend to do, if we have night scenes, to do them while people would still be awake, not at 2-3 in the morning type of thing. Maybe it's because we're older. I don't know. I'm grumpier.
I know I am.
I don't like staying up all night long. It really wrecks me the next day. But you have to think about that. I mean, if you have a really late night shoot, you can't start again at 8:00 in the morning for the next day. You have to give people some downtime. Everybody's brain needs to rest. Otherwise, that's when people get crabby and start arguing with each other because tempers are short, because people are exhausted. We don't want to do that to people.
Yeah, because you want everybody to be at their best, and
Absolutely. We want to make the best
that's
movie
what
we
it's
can.
exactly. Now, all right. So this is a two-part question.
Mhm.
As a producer, when it comes to every film, it's a learning lesson. So first part of the question is, what is one thing that you learned on this production that you were like, wow, that worked so well. I want to carry that over to the next one. And what's one thing you're like, that didn't work as well. I don't want to carry that over to the next project.
Okay, so I'll do the negative first, because that pops right to mind. We did have a situation where a couple of actors were done for the day, and they were told, not by me, but by somebody else, that they could go and, run errands or whatever they wanted to do. And then we finished what was next on the schedule really quickly. And then we said, well, let's knock out a scene or two from tomorrow before we wrap for today. And those people in those scenes had gone on their errands. And we quickly realized that we should not let people do that until the entire day is wrapped. Just because an actor is wrapped doesn't mean that you won't maybe later in the day have a scheduling change. So like once the day is wrapped, then everybody's free to do what they want to do. But we shouldn't wrap an actor early in case we have a scheduling change. And in terms of something that I learned that I would do again, trying to think of one thing. I would let people who are in the cast also do special effects, and that's something that sometimes you tend to separate that and have a person who's just dedicated to SFX. So that can a little bit introduce maybe a time delay in the schedule, because they can't start doing SFX on the next scene because they're in the current scene. However, they know the story so well that they don't have to even think for a moment about what needs to be done for the special effects. So everything ended up turning out just fine schedule-wise, even though it did introduce maybe a little bit of downtime and waiting time just to get those SFX techniques applied. And there's some heavy SFX in this. You'll see when you watch it.
Now, who do you use for your FSX for this project?
For this project, it was Angel Bradford and Kelsey Livengood. Okay. So they were also both cast members. Angel was also directing along with Steve Herman, and Angel was a cast member. So I think Angel was the busiest person on set because she wore all those different hats. But you can do that again. It comes with planning, and her character was so prepared that we didn't have to worry about that with her. It's just, again, sometimes we needed her in a scene and then she couldn't begin prepping the next scene. So sometimes you can do that like behind the scenes if somebody is not currently working.
And I'm glad to see that there's a lot of women who are going into the SFX field. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we have run across so many talented special effects artists, but you really do have to practice it. So in talking to them, I always like to watch if I have time and ask them questions about the different products they're using, the different techniques they're using, and even for beauty makeup as well. I mean, Jessa Flux had done beauty makeup for Lynn Lowry and I, and she made me look amazing. I mean, I've never looked so good on camera. So I would ask her questions as she was applying my regular makeup about, the different brands that she was using on me, the different colors and stuff. And to watch the special effects people do it there, a lot of times they would refer to, well, in this film that I worked on, I saw them use this technique. So that's kind of where, that idea came from. So it's nice because it's a community where a lot of that learning is shared. There are a lot of YouTube videos out there. People go into specific products and brands and have, application techniques and things like that. So I really like the way those people actually share information with each other.
That's awesome. Now, Anne, where can everyone find you and Night of the Dead Sorority Babes?
Well, you can search for Night of the Dead Sorority Babes on Indiegogo and also on IMDb if you just want to look and see who's in the film. Our campaign kind of goes through a synopsis of the film. It's got the film poster, goes through the cast, and then in the crew, and then also has all those different perks that you can be involved in. So since the film is completed and totally done with editing, it's too late to get your name in the film, but you could still be a producer just on IMDb if that's something that interests you, or again, grab either physical media. I have actual physical signed posters that have all original signatures on it, or we also have like a digital signed poster where the signatures are digital as well.
Nice.
So yeah, all kinds of perks that are left out there, and you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. My profiles are public, and it's just my name, Ann Myrna. And then we also have a Facebook group for Acrostar Productions. If you just search for Acrostar and choose the group versus the page, we also have a page, which we're not quite as active on, but the group is called something like Indie Horror Films from Acrostar Films.
Awesome. And I listen. I mess up the title every single time. When Sarah, I was telling her about your movie, Where They Came From. Is that what it's called?
It Came From Somewhere.
It Came From Somewhere.
That's the first 1950s style creature feature that we did, and then we did a sequel to that called They Came Back From Somewhere.
I love those movies. I think I told you I had you on. Listen, and they're still on Tubi, correct?
Yes, It Came From Somewhere is on Tubi. They Came Back From Somewhere is going to be re-released by Bayview Entertainment, and that'll be probably, probably the end of first quarter in 2025. So that was a little hard to find right at the moment, although we do have it on the Acrostar YouTube channel. So you can always search for content also on our YouTube channel. We've got shorts out there as well as some of the feature films that have been out for a while. And then another very popular one is Attack of the Corn Zombies. That is also being re-released by Bayview. It should be January of 2025. But it's currently on the Acrostar YouTube channel. And then we recently completed filming the sequel to that called Return of the Corn Zombies. And so that one will come out sometime next year.
And a good friend of the show, Shauna Rawlingson's in that one too.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how Steve does his casting, but he's really good at casting. And that's an important part of filmmaking is choosing your cast. So yeah, he put together a great team for Return of the Corn Zombies. And it's very different than the original film. Attack of the Corn Zombies, it's a little silly, it's a little lighthearted. We have stereotypical types of people from the late 60s. We've got hippies, we've got greasers, we also have farmers because it's about corn. That the levity is gone from the sequel. It's like 2 years later, the world is overrun with zombies, and it's kind of an apocalyptic world where it's about survival. So it's not like a direct continuation from the first one, but it's a continuation of that story. And we're really, really happy with the way it turned out. We put a lot into that film, and it's turning out wonderfully.
Love it. I can't wait to see it. And I also can't wait to see Night of the Dead Sorority Babes. I can't wait.
Absolutely.
And it's always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much. It's fun talking to you.
Yes, always fun. Listen, everyone. Also, get over to Indiegogo and also support the Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign as well. There's some great perks up there. Please check them out. All right, everyone. Well, listen. Thank you for coming to the Horror Room once again. Please hit that like and subscribe button. That definitely helps us out a lot. All right, I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Ann Myrna. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Take care.